Hello, I am Luiz. I'm here on behalf of the SGNY, the Spiritist Group of New York, to give you lesson number 24 of our Initiation into Spiritism course. If I may have my slides, yes, thank you so much. Today's lesson is going to be about sleep and dreams. Interesting subject. I find it very, very interesting. As usual, we are following the book by Terezinha Oliveira, Initiation into Spiritism. And today's chapter is chapter 24. Sleep and dreams. Terezinha tells us that there are several states in which the incarnate spirit can enjoy partial emancipation from the body. All those experiences, they are due to out-of-body experiences or states. Sleep is one of those out-of-body states that provide us with this thing that's called emancipation from the body or emancipation of the soul. There are other circumstances where we might experience the same thing, namely somnambulistic experiences of some or a number of types of mediumistic experiences and ecstasy. But we are not going to talk about them in today's lesson. Today's lesson is only about sleep and dreams. Allan Kardec, in the Spiritist's book, gave a full chapter, chapter 8, to this topic, the emancipation of the soul, as you can see here on the left of your screen. Inside emancipation of the soul, there are a number of questions only regarding sleep and dreams. So, if you are curious, if you like this subject, if you want to study more, and I'm sure you do want to study more, go to the Spiritist book and read chapter 8. I'm sure you're going to like it. This slide on the right has a few points from question 401 and 402. Actually, question 401 is this one on the bottom. What Allan Kardec tells you about this. A spirit never remains inactive. During sleep, the bonds that join the spirit to the body are loosened. And since the body does not need it while sleeping, the spirit travels through space and enters in a more direct relationship with other spirits. So when we are sleeping, the spirit travels through space. Our spirit travels through space. Sleep partially frees the soul from the body. When humans sleep, tells us Kardec, they momentarily find themselves in the state which they will be in permanently after that. Back to Terezinha, she tells us that sleep is the physiological phenomenon by which the body comes to rest in order to recover physically. During sleep, there is a suspension of active life, which makes it possible to loosen the fluidic ties that bind the spirit to the matter, as illustrated on the drawing in your left. Sleep seems a bit like that, like disincarnation. She's essentially telling what Kardec has told us in different words, complementing a bit. And she continues, but in that, the disengagement of the fluidic bonds is total, whereas In sleep, the emancipation is just partial. In sleep, our fluidic cords, even when loosened, continue to enable perfect communication between soul and body. In your picture on the left, you can see this woman asleep as the soul detaches from her. That cord would be the connecting cord between the soul and the body. Sometimes it is referred to as the silver cord. We are told by ethereal spirits that the silver cord is never disconnected, is never broken while we are alive, only after we discarnate. If an immediate return is necessary, the spirit will be instantly aware of it and come back forthwith, using Teresinha's words. Once the fluidic ties are loosened, meaning when we fall asleep and we detach, like in the picture on the left or the drawing on the left, the spirit can move away from the sleeping body. And what happens? Our spirit, under this situation, temporarily recover its spiritual faculties. Because while we are incarnated and conscious, while we are conscious, the influence of matter limits or prevents the full abilities of our spirit. While we are asleep, unconscious, we get more freedom, not full freedom, but we get more freedom and more capability, more of the inherent capabilities of our spirit. We also are able to recognize ourselves as immortal beings and have a better perspective of our purpose in this current existence. Obviously, this happens in relation to our stage of development. More advanced spirits, more developed spirits, have much more conscious perception while asleep, their spirits, our spirits, than less evolved spirits, as you are aware by this point in the 24th lesson. While asleep, sometimes we are able to remember the past of previous lives, maybe not only of our last lives, but other lives. Our ethereal spirits, or friendly ethereal spirits, let us know that at our level, we very, very seldom remember many past lives. The vast majority of us at our level, when we become ethereal spirits, we still hold the memories and actually even the appearance of our last life. It requires a lot of effort and interception and a reason for us to remember the other lives. This is understandable because, as you can imagine, it's already so difficult to live this one life, to carry all the burdens and the consequences of the decisions and the remorse maybe of just one life. Can you imagine if we are in touch with 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 worse versions of ours? Because as my friend João always says, this is our best version. We are in continuous evolvement. This is our best version. So it would be very difficult. So at our level, usually remembers only this one life, and our while when we go and become ethereal spirits, our last incarnated life. Anyway, and also sometimes we are able to foresee or deduce events that are bound to happen. Obviously, this is limited by the free will. When we have a perception of the future, it's never exact because everybody has a free will and is acting with its free will. So there's no way we can have a perfect vision of the future. Sometimes we have a glimpse, a perception of what might happen. If you want example of those two things, there's a book by Emmanuel, psychographed by Chico Xavier himself, I believe, if I'm not wrong. It's called 2000 Years Ago. In the chapter 1 of this book, Emmanuel tells about his past life, one of his past lives, actually. And in this chapter, he is telling a friend about a dream that he had about a former life. So Emmanuel tells him that while incarnated, he dreamed and he remembered this dream. And in this dream, he was in a past life. If you are curious, go and read the book. Regarding foreseeing things, remember we talked about Camille Flammarion on our lesson 10. Anyway, there's a book about Camille Flammarion. It's a book called Death and Its Mysteries. It's a multi-volume book. In volume 1, if my memory doesn't fail me, chapter 9, I believe so. I gave a class about this, that's why I remember. Camille Flammarion is writing, he's not psycho-writing, he's writing a book regarding that and its mysteries. And a gentleman comes to him and tell him a story about a friend, a lady friend, who had a premonition in her dream, and that premonition actually happened. So it's an interesting example. If you have a chance, go and read it. I believe part of my mission here is to enamorate you on the concept of reading and studying and finding things and tying things together so you can build your own a model of the universe and build on your faith through that knowledge so that it will give you a mathematical certainty of it. Remember lesson 10? But we go on, and I digress. Sleep, which brings the rest to the body, is for an spirit an opportunity to enter in relation with the spiritual world in order to obtain guidance, comfort, and strength to proceed with success on its earthly journey. By partially emancipating from the body, each spirit will act according to its evolutionary level. By the way, in parentheses, the expression emancipation of the soul was actually created by Kardec. And as far as I know, it was first written in the Spirit's book itself. So that chapter is where the concept is introduced. See that Teresinha prefers to use emancipating from the body. Well, that's good. So, back to the text. The experiences lived by a spirit, by us, during sleep may greatly vary. Benevolent or more evolved spirits might have a chance to go to higher spiritual environments, to go to better places, to have a chance to study and to actually work while sleeping with other high order spirits. and get reunited with discarnated friends and relatives in case they are at that level of evolution. That is fantastic, isn't it? Uh, I have a friend who works as a volunteer in the same spirit house that I do. And he has told me, and that's interesting, his perception, that he clearly perceives when during a certain night he actually worked, that the the reminiscence of or the sensation that he feels when waking up is different when he just had a dream and when he actually worked helping the spirits of our spiritist house. That's great, isn't it? I never had that clear experience myself. I believe it has happened, but I'm not sure. I cannot really point out. I do not have the sensibility for it. But I find the concept fantastic. Such spirits, and this comes from Allan Kardec in the Spirit's book, while their body is sleeping, rejoin the company of those who are more evolved. They travel with, converse with, and learn from those more evolved spirits. If you read the book Missionaries of the Light uh, by André Luiz, psychographed by Chico Xavier, there's an interesting thing in chapter 8, if my memory doesn't fail me. This particular spirit, the guy with whom André Luiz is going about, as you know, in every book he goes about with a guide, a more evolved spirit from Nosso Lar or from one of the close by assistance centers, if I might say, might use that expression. And this particular instructor gives classes to thousands of spirits. And of those thousands of spirits, if I remember well, about 300 of them are actually incarnated spirits that, while sleeping, go and participate in those lessons, in those classes. They are there learning, evolving. Fantastic, isn't it? They even work, now back to the test, on projects that when they discarnate, they find complete. So while they were here alive, they're already working on projects. And when they discarnate, they find those projects advanced or complete. I hope we're among those, because it would be a very, very interesting thing, wouldn't it? From these facts, tells us Kardec, you should once more learn not to fear that, because we die daily. As a saint once stated, I don't know who the saint was, but anyway, I'm citing here. This comes from Spiritist book, chapter 8, question 401. That same question I showed you. But not everyone among us live the same experience. Teresinha alerts us that low order spirits have a tendency to join together two other spirits to whom they are attuned when they sleep. So they might not get the same interesting experiences that more evolved spirits get when they emancipate their souls during sleep. This could result in not so interesting sensations, maybe waking up, with that bad sensation. So one more reason for us to try to improve ourselves as much as we can, so that we can have good experiences when our souls emancipate for our bodies, probably every night. While we are asleep and when our soul detaches from our body, like in that picture, we not only relate to discarnate spirits, we can also relate to people who are alive. We can also visit people and interact with them in a good or bad way, according to our level of evolution, according to what we want and what we wish. So, definitely, if we work towards good, we have a tendency to visit people that are attuned to the same things. So, what we are learning here, that when we sleep, we are able to have our souls detached from our bodies, and we are able to interact with other spirits, spirits that are similar to us in purposes and desires, being them incarnated or discarnated. Allan Kardec, in the Spirit's book, chapter 8, tells us. By the way, some of those questions are very long. Question 402, I believe, are 2 pages long. So this is a fairly dense or long chapter and long questions. But anyway, Kardec tells us. On the question, can two people who know each other visit each other during sleep? And the spirits answer to him, yes, and many others, who do not think they know each other while awake, meet and converse with them, without even suspecting it. You may have friends in another country. The phenomenon during sleep in which you visit friends, relatives, acquaintances, and individuals who may be useful to you is so frequent that you experience it almost every night. So, here in the codification, the higher spirits that were preparing the codification with Kardec let us know that those experiences happens almost every night. So, according to them, almost every night, our spirit goes about and interact with others. Back to Teresinha. She's focusing now on dreams. So let's talk about dreams. There are dreams that are just psychophysical processes. But other dreams are spiritual dreams. So we have 2 kinds of dreams. Let's say mundane dreams, if I might say so, and spiritual dreams. Spiritual dreams. When a dream is merely a psychophysical process, it usually reflects an organic condition. When you eat too much, when there's noise, I'm sure you remember both situations, when it's too hot or too cold, and you dream something related to that. And there are dreams that reveals your mental creations, your imaginations, what's in your subconscious. Many times reflecting whatever, has affected your life, when you are awake. I'm sure you remember dreaming about things that happened during work, or reliving things that happened on that working day, or in your family, experience that day on past few days, or dreams about something that you fear, you don't want to happen. Those are, you know, mundane dreams, if I might say that. They're just, using the words by Teresinha, psychophysical dreams. But the other kind of dreams, the spiritual dreams, they are different. They result from experiences of the spirit while the body is asleep. And the spirit detaches and go about the spiritual world or go visiting incarnated people. The dreams, they are not actually the visits, they are the partial recollection or memories of what the spirit saw or felt or did during the period of partial emancipation during sleep. So, spiritual dreams are the fragmented, the incomplete memories that we have of the emancipation of the body experiences that we had during that particular period of sleep. Sometimes we remember nothing, zero of this spiritual experience. Teresinha's explanation is that the physical brain was not used during it, just the perispiritual brain that was going about with our soul. Therefore, when we return to our body, it was unable, our physical brain was unable to record the impressions brought by the spirit. That's an interesting explanation. I think here we are, in a sort of unknown. We suppose that one of the possible reasons why we don't remember. At other times, on leaving or returning to our body, we are able to retain, a vague impression of what our spirit has experienced. I think that it's what my friend Mario feels when he awakes and he knows that he was working, but he doesn't remember exactly what happened. If these memories mingle with our psychophysical problems, they might become confused and incoherent and mix it with other memories from our mundane dreams. I'm sure you remember having, very, very confusing dreams that they might have been just that, a combination of memories, a patchwork of what happened and what you just imagine. We are told that when necessary, the good spirits act upon us in a special way, so that when we wake up, we can remember something of greater importance discussed in the spiritual world. I remember a passage of a book by André Luiz. Unfortunately, I cannot name the book from the top of my head. When something like that just happened. This lady, she was a very good lady in a difficult situation, taking care of her mother that was ill, bedridden, and she slept besides the bed of her mother, and a group of three spirits came to give support to her. And she was giving individual support during that sleep. And special care was taken that she would remember at least the lessons, at least what she was told when she woke up. And she woke and she did not remember the dream, but she remembered the sensation. And she woke up with a good sensation in spite of the bad situation and decided to do a set of actions. I wish I had taken note of that particular book to share with you here. Anyway, it's a chance for you guys and girls, to read André Luiz books and try to identify the passage I'm mentioning. Back to Teresinha, uh, she tells us that even when we do not remember everything perfectly, what was experienced while our body was asleep will remain an intuition, suggesting ideas and actions. I'm sure we all heard of scientists and philosophers and doctors of all kinds of specialities that woke up with ideas that resulted in interesting developments for mankind. Why don't we always remember our dreams? Is a question that Allan Kardec has in the Spirit's book, that same chapter. The Spirits told Kardec, during what you call sleep, you only experience the repose of the body because the spirit is always in motion. During sleep, it recovers a little of its freedom and communicates with those who are dear to it, either on this world or on others. But since the body is composed of heavy and dense matter, it's difficult for it to retain the impressions received by the spirit, because the spirit did not receive them through the body's organs in the first place. Continues Kardec, during sleep, incarnate spirits are always in touch with the spirit world. Evil spirits also use dreams to torment weak and cowardly souls. In a word, it's not in a word, in a short phrase, sleep has more influence than you think on your life. Words from Kardec. Teresinha now tells us a bit about the importance of sleep and how to prepare for it. She tells us the fact that we spend a third of our lifetime sleeping reveals the importance of physical sleep and of dreams. The physical sleep promote organic rest, contribute to the release of toxins, etc. And the dreams, they are good for us, both psychological, both mundane sleeps, if I might say, and spiritual dreams. The dreams provide us psychological balance and also spiritual balance. The spiritual experience we enjoy while the body sleeps is like visiting time or sunbathing on the patio for a prisoner in a jail. So she's making an analogy of us incarnated, that our souls, poor souls, are prisoners in a jail. Well, that's a strong image, but uh, the concept here is that it's a refreshing time for us when we detach from our body. Good way of thinking. Back to Kardec, but now from the Gospel according to Spiritism. This comes from chapter 28. It's right by the back of the book. There are a number of communications from different spirits. And in one of them, they say, sleep was given to human beings to restore their organic and mental energies. While the body recovers the energy it spent during the waking state, the spirit renews itself among other spirits, incarnated and discarnated. And later on, this particular text, they say, May may those who are going to sleep, so may those appeal to the counsels of the good spirits while sleeping, and those whose memory is dear to them, so that they may go to meet them during the short time that is granted. And upon waking, that may they feel stronger against evil, that may they feel more courageous against adversity. It's a good counsel. How can we achieve that? How can we aim for that? Back to Teresinha, she has a number of recommendations for us. She suggests that we do some preparation regularly for our daily rest. She recommends that in the physical aspect, before sleep, that we do only a light meal, nothing heavy, that we take care of our personal hygiene, that we try to be in a silent environment, things that do help us, to sleep well, to physically sleep well. On the mental side, she suggests that before going to sleep, that we try not to have distressing conversations, exhausting readings, distressing movies, leisure activities that are, disturbing. Action video games, for instance. That's something we should try to avoid. And spiritually, good ideas are uplifting reading, meditation, serenity, forgiveness, prayer. Following this, our body and mind will rest adequately, and in spirit, we will have a better chance of interacting with good and friendly spirits. Me personally, whenever I rest my head in the pillow, I try to have a brief conversation with my mentor, making myself available to him and other friendly spirits if they are in need of my work in any way, asking for guidance, one or other particular thing that's important to me that evening. Simple things, but that might help you every day. 2 final slides. People talk a lot about interpretation of dreams. This has been a field of study. Teresinha tells us that, some people worry too much about interpretation of the meaning of dreams, believing that things that happen in the dreams have a special meaning, indicating good or bad luck. Freud did a huge work on that. Anyway, Spiritism does not, lend itself to such interpretations. We do not believe that everything seen or heard in dreams has a special meaning. We believe that the science of art of interpreting dreams, it's not true. If you experience a dream, that conveys unpleasant or disturbing messages, especially bad dreams, Teresinha's recommendation is just to pray for protection, try to do your best to face the challenges and difficulties that you are that they are ahead of you at that particular moment of time, whatever they are. And her final recommendation is we should not be fixated on our dreams or pay them too much attention. Interpretation of our dream is nothing. It's not that important. Important thing is what our soul experiences when we have, those very good moments of emancipation of the soul, and that we should definitely try to make the most of those moments and to collaborate so that those moments actually happen to us. And that was it for today. I hope you have enjoyed this particular lesson. It's a subject I like very much. And if there are questions, it would be my pleasure to answer them. Here's a question. Does my spirit may partially emancipate from the body, even in a short sleep? Well, that's a good question. In that particular chapter that I mentioned from the Spirit's book, Kardec, I believe, asked something very similar. And anyway, he got a similar reply. So, from the Spirit's book, we learned that, yes, even in very short sleeps, we have the condition to emancipate from the body. Even a short nap, your short afternoon nap, for a few minutes, there is the opportunity for your soul to emancipate from the body. Actually, Kardec mentions that a simple dulling of the senses often presents a situation when our soul briefly emancipates. So, answer is yes, definitely. Even in short, very very short naps, you can have your soul emancipating from your body. Any other question? Yeah. Do we learn and evolve while sleeping? Definitely yes. I think I've covered that in this lesson. Yes, we have the opportunity, and here opportunity is the operational world, to learn and evolve while sleeping. It depends a lot on us, on our will, on our desire, on our efforts to learn and evolve and work while sleeping. As I mentioned, in different books, we can, find people that while asleep, incarnated, they are working, they are studying, they are helping others. So definitely yes, a big yes for this question. Haha! Are most of our dreams spiritual dreams? That's an interesting question. I don't have a definite answer for it. The codification tends to direct us to the idea that yes, we have a lot of spiritual dreams. On the other hand, other books de-emphasize that. For instance, I remember I was translating The Consoler. It's a book that's a little part of it helping friends, that's about to be published. And a question regarding this, Emmanuel replied that most of our dreams, are psychological dreams. Only in some circumstances, or maybe I should say a few circumstances, they represent, freedom of the spirit. So, are most of our dreams spiritual dreams? I don't know. we have conflicting situations. We know, conflicting, sorry, explanations. We know that we have spiritual dreams, but I don't know if most of them are spiritual. I don't know if that varies from person to person. That would be very, very possible. Sometimes I notice that we cannot, things from decodification cannot be understood word by word, not only because we are talking about 150 years ago or more, but also because they were very enlightened spirits that, through Kardec, gave us the codification. So sometimes their view, their perception is in a level, a few steps above ours. We are here, in our neighborhood. So I tend to think that uh, our group, most of our dreams are, just mundane dreams. But we have, a few spiritual dreams very often. And that we, every night, maybe, or almost every night, we detach from our bodies, but not always we dream, not always we remember those experiences. And the frequency with which this happens varies from, one to the other. That's my personal view. In case there are no more questions, I've used my time. People have been very strict to me. You have to stick to your to your allotted time. So it's been a pleasure being with you. I hope you have enjoyed this particular lesson. It's been an honor, and I thank you in my name, in the name of SGNY, and I hope and I wish good luck to you. Take care.